Good morning and welcome back to the Kaiser Report. I'm John, and I'm coming to you today with a few tidbits of news that are out and about today. The biggest news is the Republicans advanced the Mayorkas impeachment as the Democrats decry the process as a sham. Somebody should remind them that the Schiff sham that they pulled on Donald Trump twice with no evidence and no reason to do it was the real sham. Mayorkas is down there in charge of a border who they let completely wide open and continue to let them pour into this country against what the law says. The House Republicans voted early Wednesday to advance the impeachment case against Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas to the full chamber, moving one step closer to impeaching the first cabinet member in almost 150 years. In an 18-15 vote along party lines, following a marathon meeting, members of the House Homeland Security Committee advanced two articles of impeachment against Mayorkas, accusing him of willful and systematic refusal to comply with the law. This is right in front of our eyes, this happened. Not some dossier that was made up and paid for by Hillary Clinton. This is actually happening. When the president is asked why this has been allowed to happen, he says because Congress and the Senate won't work with him to give him control over the border and control over the border agents. This is an out-and-out lie. The executive branch has the means, without Congress, to close our borders. They intentionally opened the border wide and invited people to come in. Even the Red Cross is handing out maps throughout 100-plus countries telling them how to get to the southern border and what to say when they get there. And now yesterday, they encountered a bunch of Chinese nationals coming through Maine, through the northern border. Who's paying for Chinese nationals' airfare to get to Canada or wherever their port of entry is up there in Maine? And by the way, this is a country, China, that you need an act of God to get into or out of, but yet these people are getting here, and by the hundreds. And they're all military age. No women, all men. Interesting, isn't it? We're just a wide open, we might as well be a way station for anybody, including aliens, to come here. Because no one's closing the border. It's wide open. And Mayorkas sitting in the hearing committees and lying straight-faced while he smirks at them like, yeah, try to get me out of this job. You can't do it. That's arrogance on top of arrogance. So I believe that they're on the right bent here in getting rid of him. God bless him. He's over his head, or he knows exactly what he's doing and he's following orders from somebody else. And I don't think it's Biden, it's whoever runs Biden that's giving these orders out. It's a bad situation. They have breached the public trust beyond anything imaginable, and then try to defend it or blame it on Donald Trump. He's just a basket to throw every blame that you can at him. But he's the only one that did anything about slowing down the influx through the southern border. And I might add, did a great job at it. The car business, that's on the news this morning. They're announcing that banks and lending institutions, and in some cases that are even the lending institutions owned by the car manufacturers, are in trouble because they're experiencing over 27% repossession rates. Now I want to take you back to COVID. When you went to buy a car, if you remember, there was inventory shortages because the supply chains were all locked down. So the dealerships decided that this was a way to make money. So what they did was the car you wanted were few and far between. So when you found one, in some cases you had to travel to the next city over to get it in the proper color or accessorized the way you want it. And you got there, and the manufacturer's suggested retail price, the sticker on the window, was one thing. And then they informed you that, well, it's $5,000 more than that because of the supply chain problems we have. We just can't get the cars. So some people went out and paid that. Interest rates were low. You took what you had. If it wasn't the right color that you wanted, you still bought it. You paid them for it. So they had a heyday because of COVID at the dealerships. Well, that's all changed. Right now they're over inventoried. They're still trying to get you to up buy on, extended warranties and things of that nature. Here's a rule of thumb that I go by. If you go to a dealer to buy a new car and they tell you that you have to pay dock fees, a dock fee is a fee that they charge you, and in some cases it's $300, $400, $500. And that dock fee is a documentation fee for them to fill out the paper that they're required to do by both the lending institution and the state that they work in. And they want you to pay them that money to do it. Walk away. That's a deal breaker for me because I don't pay dock fees. And I refuse to pay dock fees. If you have documentation that you have to do, it's your responsibility to do it. Either that or give me the paperwork, I'll fill it out myself, and you pay me the $500. Walk away. If they ask you to go to an F&I room, that stands for finance and insurance. They're going to try to sell you insurance. They're going to try to sell you an extended warranty on a car that may carry already a 5-year warranty. But it's all by fear. This country operates on fear. They want you to be afraid of everything, including your car breaking down. It's not a good situation. Buy smart, be a smart consumer, and don't get trapped by these people. They're hurting now because car sales, quite frankly, are in the toilet. So they're suffering. They had their heyday, and now they're going to eat some of the returns on some of these cars. People are upside down because of this, because they pack all this stuff into it. And then 2 years later, you go to sell your car or make a trade-in and find out that you're upside down by $5,000 and $6,000, $7,000 in some cases. So you hear these ads on TV and on the radio, come in and we'll give you $6,000 over the blue book value of your car. It's all a scam. And the car dealers in this country are in trouble and will continue to be in trouble until they get honest. They always had a bad reputation. But now with the government that we have, they look good. So that's what's going on in the automobile industry in this country. Yesterday I told you that Toyota is recalling 50,000 cars and issued an edict not to drive these cars until you hear from them. That's interesting. What else is going on today worth the news? I told you about Maine is now being breached on the border. It's a wonderful world we live in. Nikki Haley, she's still campaigning on trying to run Trump into the ground, and I'm not sure that that's a way to do it. But she's getting unlikely support out of the Democrats are pushing for her. What does that tell you? We know that her funding is coming from BlackRock and people of that nature. She has some heavy donors that are keeping her very wealthy as far as TV ads and things like that, while everyone else is trying to sue Trump out of all his campaigning money, which he doesn't use for that. They want his money. But she's doing quite well in raising funds, but not doing very well among the public voting population, in my estimation. I don't trust her. I would not ever vote for her. I don't believe her. I think she's disingenuous. I think she carries a party line, and I think that she is not capable of actually doing the presidential job. She falls short in several areas. Not to say that she didn't do a great job as a governor and didn't do a great job as an ambassador. I'm sure she's a very nice person, but she's a bought and paid for politician, a career politician that I don't believe in. Enough said. The Atlantic is trying to tell us now that we're missing out on the best electric cars because we have to all experience that. And that'll never happen in my lifetime because I won't buy one. I don't have any problem. If you like them, go out and buy it. But with all of the nonsense that's going on, and now with Tesla's locking up on the road, and no one knows why, people are trying to get rid of them. It's not just Tesla. I mean, if you look at the cold snap we had here, when it gets down to minus 10 degrees, these electric cars don't like it. They lose power in the cold. And if you have a Ford pickup truck, electric pickup truck, the Lightning, you can't pull anything with it because it takes half of the power away. And you buy a pickup truck to pull things. But climate change. The sun's poles are about to flip. It's an awesome and slightly terrifying sight. This is what they're saying today. The sun is getting ready to flip. Every 11 or so years, the sun undergoes an epic transformation in its magnetic poles. They reverse. Like on Earth, the sun has a magnetic north and a magnetic south, but unlike Earth, whose poles flip on the order of hundreds of thousands of years, the sun shuffle is a regular occurrence, and the sun's poles last reversed in 2013. So we're just about due now to see the sun flip, which brings us to climate change. With that going on, coupled with the fact that if you remember back to your grade school education where they showed you how the earth turns on its axis and the earth wobble varies climate occurrences in different parts of the world. John Kerry and the Davos bunch, headed by Klaus Schwab, Dr. Evil, will tell you that you can't grow a garden this year because it's hurting the climate. You cannot farm anymore. This is why Bill Gates is out buying up all the farmland in conjunction with Monsanto and whoever else is helping him make this land unfarmable ever again, or for years, wants you to eat lab-produced foods. Well, we know when they started processing foods, our illnesses changed. Not climate change, but illnesses change. The reason is processed food is the worst possible thing you can put into your body. So if they're lab producing meats now made with bugs and plant-based stuff, where are they getting the plant-based if they don't want any gardens built anymore? This is a huge scam that somebody is going to make a fortune on, but we will starve. But that's okay because John Kerry says that we need to make the sacrifice of losing people to help the world's climate problem. They're after carbon footprints. Now they're after carbon existence, which is you and me. And he came out and said it. So did several people at the World Economic Forum make a statement that we have to sacrifice some people. The world is overpopulated, we know that. And it continues to grow. Our country will fast be as overpopulated as everything else because we're letting 8, 9, 10, 11 million people crash through our borders and strain every system, including our food systems in this country, to a point where we can no longer survive without farmland and the ability to feed these people. We have to realize that we have to control our borders, we have to control our populations, and we have to find a way to produce good, nourishing foods without fooling with the genetics of it, or processing it to a point where it poisons you. It's a slow poison that works. Look at the amount of children with allergies. When I was a young kid, I don't think there was maybe more than one person that I ever knew that had any kind of an allergy, and I think that his allergy was to a cat, which is common. But now you have nut allergies, you have allergies to everything, including school in some cases. Processed food will make you sick, and it will do it over a period of time where you may not notice it right away, but it's happening. And now they want you to eat nothing but processed goods and lab-produced fake meat. Because, God forbid, a cow farts too much and causes a rain. Come on. And John Kerry, go home. You know nothing. You know how to marry rich women. And you're flying all over the damn world in your private jet. So don't tell me about driving my car too much and what my carbon footprint is. These billionaires that are sitting over there deciding what you can and can't do for the rest of your life is not a good thing. Climate change is a scam, and somebody is making money on it, and it's not us. Not you and I. Let's see what else is going on. The government, as I say every day, we have a circus. And if you listen to what the press secretary has to say to these news people that are asking the questions, it's almost amusing. It's laughable on how she gets away. And if Peter Doocy asks the question, you see her physically don't want to answer that because she knows he's going to try to trap her. She's there to do one thing, and that's protect Joe Biden against anybody that says something badly against them. Well, if the solar poles are flipping, I think that there could be a very good chance that the earth is starting to do much the same. And I think that the poles are moving, and I think that that is a result of some of the cooler weather in some spots and warmer weather in others. This is a natural phenomenon that takes place. And we have to ride with the storm. We've always had heavy snows. We've always had, in my lifetime, hurricanes. We've always had tsunamis. We've always had the earth's plates moving, causing earthquakes, volcano action, and things of that nature. It's historical. This is not something new that the millennials discovered. So please, eat well and don't worry about the weather. Enjoy it. And we don't know what's coming next. But that's the fun part of life. Do what you need to do to feed your family. And don't listen to them about putting in a garden, because now we need to grow gardens more than ever. We need to feed ourselves good vegetables and have meat that's not overladen with growth hormones, antibiotics, and God knows what else they're injecting into these poor cattle. that are feeding the mass of population. Let's worry about the influx of people that are straining every social aspect of help that we have in this country. When you look at New York City, where 2 police officers were pummeled to the ground by migrants because they dared try to arrest one for a crime he committed, is an indication of what's to come when you let 11 million people, unvetted, unchecked, into your cities. This is a crime. Them coming in without proper documentation or visas is a crime. They're not migrants. They're not asylum seekers. They're criminals, and they should be treated as such. But we've taken our police departments and literally hobbled them. These officers were beaten yesterday, and when they arrested the people doing the beating, the courts turned them back into the streets to do the same thing with no bail. How does that deter crime? It doesn't. It teaches them that whatever you want to do now, there are no consequences for it, so have at it. You want to go to Macy's and just smash and grab some great purses? Hey, go ahead. If we do catch you, the court will let you out. You don't need bail. And these people are undocumented. So how do you get them to come to court for that particular crime? By tomorrow, they'll be in Atlanta. It's upside down. This country has changed to a point where it's unrecognizable in some areas. And it keeps on giving. It's not a gift to the citizens of the United States to have this many people pour in here with ill and bad intent, or an intent on grabbing the free things and then doing whatever they feel like doing. Look at New York City. The Roosevelt Hotel is full of illegal immigrants that pay nothing, but they have a nice room and a bath. Can't work because they don't have work visas, so they're out. They're putting their children out to panhandle while they wash car windows to try and get tips. That's not the New York I grew up in. San Francisco was one of my favorite cities of all time. I have no desire to go back there. Not since what I've seen has happened there. And it's a hard situation, and it's probably difficult for some of these people that came in that may need a new place to live. But when you have Chinese nationals crashing through the border, all of military age and all men, that ought to run up a red flag somewhere. But not to Mr. Mayorkas. He thinks it's all closed. We don't have any problem. So I do hope the impeachment goes through for him, and I hope he loses his position, and I hope he's taught a lesson, and he can go home and smirk about that. He is the most arrogant individual that I've ever seen in my life, along with most of the carnival cabinet that is sitting there now. Do you think for a minute Iran isn't watching our Secretary of Health running around in a dress and laughing? Do you think China's not seeing this? Then you're misinformed. Buttigieg. Yeah, we have a supply chain problem in this country, and it's been here since he's taken that position. Not to mention the fact now they got the Red Sea to blame for you not having the proper goods on the shelves in your markets or your stores where you need to buy this stuff, because it's a supply chain problem, because they can't get through the Suez Canal anymore and they can't use the Red Sea, so the ships aren't bringing in the containers necessary to take care of our population and feed some of the world's population. Why? Because Iran-backed rebels who need to be taught a lesson are not being shown that lesson, and they continue. They're firing at our ships. We've lost soldiers as a direct result of this drone strike. And Biden says don't. And he's making a plan to hit them back, but he doesn't know exactly which way he's going to do that yet. Ha! We'll blow up another empty warehouse somewhere, and he'll say, see, I took care of it. Bidenomics. You know. It's a hard world to live in today. We have to make the best of it. I so appreciate this community, this YouTube community, that allows us the freedom to say the truth with some integrity. You cannot listen to mainstream media, legacy media. They lie, which brings us to the point where they're once again after... I see this on Twitter all the time. Russell Brand. They're trying to bring him down. They're trying to bring down Mr. Musk, Elon Musk. Of course, they're trying to destroy in every fiber of his being Donald J. Trump. My hat goes off to Donald J. Trump for putting up with and surviving what he's had to go through. The lies, the impeachment, the destruction of his reputation by bought and paid for liars. Judges that sit on a bench with an agenda for one purpose only. And these are Soros-backed judges, prosecutors, and in some cases, state politicians. New York is a classic example. And I can name a lot more states that are blue states that they're just wound up in this. I don't know what game they're playing, but they know how to cheat in it. And that scares me. I'm already wondering, because of the arrogance of these people, if they don't already have a fix in place. Makes you wonder. Makes you want to take a second look at every candidate that's asking you for a vote or $1 for their campaigns. And as I said and continue to say, if a politician's asking you, ask them what their solutions are and name the problems that bother you the most and make them give you a valid answer. I'm so sick of talking points from politicians makes me want to not talk to another politician. We have some good ones. Don't get me wrong. They're not all bad. Some of them actually go in with an open heart and a desire to fix a problem or help their fellow man. And then they get in the club and someone tells them you can't do that. You have to go along this agenda. Don't worry about them over here. This is what we need you to do. And they get tainted in some cases. And then you have the people that are genuinely in there trying to do the job that we elected them to do. And I know a couple of them. And I know their hearts are in the right place. But how do you fight against that many that are on the other side? It's a hard situation to be in. I would never want to be in that political realm myself. It is a hard job if you take on to do it. And how Donald Trump has survived through the nonsense that's been thrown at him. It's a miracle. There are a lot of people out there that are, against the MAGA movement. It's a grassroots movement that's come along. And are there idiots that are in it? Absolutely. There are people, go on Twitter or X now, or Rumble, or just look at the comments. And you'll be amazed on how many stupid people there are that say stupid things and have stupid ideas and try to press them into your realm of thinking. Don't let them. As I said yesterday, it's got to come from here. And if it comes from the heart and you ask God for help, you'll get it. Give rather than receive. Do something for your country rather than letting your country decide how you're going to live. Because that's what this whole economic forum is about. Them controlling us and deciding how we're going to live, what we're going to eat, how we're going to pray. Don't let them. Be wise, think for yourself, and get back to, basics. Get back to the family. I know some of you have to work 2 and 3 jobs just to survive. It's not going to be easy. But I think we can overcome. This country has seen a lot. We've had a lot of people try to destroy us, and they haven't been successful. So let's not let them be successful now. Stick to what you know. Work hard. The American dream is not completely dead, even though they'd like you to think it is. So keep the faith. We love you here at the Kaiser Report, and thank you for tuning in today. It's been a pleasure to be here, to talk to you, to speak the truth. And as always, I ask you, give me your comments and your thoughts on these subjects that we talk about. There's a comment section below, and I'd love to hear from you. And please take a minute and hit the like and subscribe button for me so I can keep coming to you with what I know and what I learn, so we can talk. But let me know what your thoughts are. because it's important that I know what you're thinking as well as what I'm thinking. So with that, it's time for me to get out of here and let you have a day. We love you. Bye now.